Well, good morning everybody. It's Tony here. Today we're going to go down to the Vienna Trolley Museum, Public Transportation Museum. They call it the Remise. It's an ugly day. It's like 38 degrees, drizzling a little bit, late fall. What better thing to do than to go check out all the trams and trolleys and buses and historical vehicles from the city of Vienna. So join me. All right, 19 minutes, 9 stations on 3 lines. I took the U6 to the U4 to the U3, and now I just got to walk a block or two and I'll be at the museum. Really super efficient public transportation here in Vienna. Gotta love it. Okay, we're here at the Remise, the Verkehrsmuseum der Wiener Linien, which basically means the Public Transportation Museum of Vienna Transport. So let's go in and have a look. All right, I got my ticket and I'm in. All right, it says that the exposition or the exhibit is through here. Let's take a look. And there we are. Very cool. Right away when you come in, we have multiple variations of the trams. 16th district, the Ottakringer Straße line, the Kai Ring, the one that went around the ring, and this is an old 39 that used to go out to the part of town known as Sievering, and Sievering is now served by a bus, the 39A. So, does it still say 39 on here? It does. So here's our 39. And this is tram 2280. Again, when I get back, I will look these all up. Oh, here we go. We have signs. Der Halbstarke, the adolescent. It says type L from the 60s, but it's a little older, 2606. 1955 to 1973. Alright, let's just keep walking through here a little bit. Really cool building. See, we got one of the older ones connected to a slightly newer. This is back in the day. If we get close, that you can look inside here and you see that there's actually, it's probably going to be difficult to see with all the reflection, but there's a chair here and a change maker. And basically what you had to do in the old days was you had to go through the door, one door, all the other doors tell you you're not allowed to go in, and you'd have to either show your ticket or pay the guy. This one they call the woodworm. So it's not a powered car, it's an attachment car. 1953. Here we have one that's got the sign on it saying it's going to the Prater Hauptallee. The Prater Hauptallee is a very long pedestrian boulevard that is, it starts basically by the Riesenrad, the giant Ferris wheel, known famously through the movie The Third Man, and still a beloved place for Viennese to go for walks. Sicher, the hisser. That's the one we saw from the front before. Also a 1951 model. Ah, here we go. The 17 line, which I don't think exists anymore. And very interesting, they call this tram the American, der Amerikaner. It is a Type Z from 1939. Very cool. You still see the handle up here. Really hard to see with the reflection. How they controlled that. Let's see if we can get a look from the side. Little leather chair in there, and the controls. So this one we were looking at before, the number 78. Also a line that does not exist anymore. 6, again, a line that doesn't exist anymore. Trio Infernal, the Infernal Trio, car 462, with the destination sign being the Börseplatz, which is the stock exchange on the ring. Let's see when this one was made. All right, this is a Type P2 from 1929. And it was in service until 1970s, till 71 to 78, still used. Very, very awesome. Now we get into some more of the real classics back here. Gotta love these. Just so much cool detail up here on the control stand, open front. So this is called The Servant with Two Masters. 1871. Heading to the Stadtbahn for the South train station, car 1504. Beautiful wood finish. And again, that control wheel there. This is a Type D from 1924. Just gonna keep walking right on through here. And here we have a 34 line called the Lightweight, das Leichtgewicht, car number 314, built in 1925. We also have some cars here that are clearly for freight. The 106, never even heard of that line. Now, I've been in Vienna on and off since 1979, since I was a teenager. And this is the first time that I've ever been here. And it's just really, really cool to see this place and get kind of that snapshot of history, starting from the oldest and moving back towards the newest. We do have buses here as well, and this is the 21 Saurer Diesel license plate bus that went up to the Kahlenberg, which is the overlook mountain to the north of the city up in the Vienna woods. Yeah, 1949. They called it the Schnauze, the Schnoz, the snout. Built in 49 and in service for another 21 years until 1970. Nice. Looks like it could still run today. All right, we found the double-decker, the 13A. Still in service today. The line is still running today. This bus is clearly no longer in service. They've got some newer buses that go through there. Haven't been on that line in a while, so I don't know if they're still using more modern 13A double-deckers. Let's get an idea of the year on this one. 1961. And does not say how long it stayed in service. But just a gorgeous looking double-decker bus here. And again, don't enter in the front by the driver. Don't enter in the middle. Make sure you enter in the back so that you can pay the man. All right, found one of my favorites, the G2 to Hoevarte. This tram was actually still in service, I believe, when I got here the first time as a 14-year-old back in 1979. Goes up to Hoevarte, which is up in the 19th district towards the Vienna woods. At the end of that tram line, there's a public pool. Been around for at least 50 years, 60 years. Really excellent with indoor and outdoor pools and great view down to the city. So if you ever take what is now the 37 line that used to be called the G2, you can go visit that part of town. It's really nice. This is interesting, the Schaffnerlos, called the Schaffner enemy, the conductor's enemy. So at some point, the trust system was implemented across all of public transportation in Vienna, which meant that you can basically get on and get off as you please. It's on you to have a ticket, and so that meant that these people that used to sit there and take the money were out of a job. So that's why they called that one the enemy of the conductor. A couple of more really interesting trams here that I've never seen before. The color scheme, the blue, is unusual because everything in Vienna is red and white, whether it's the buses or the trams. But just gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, here's the number 41 that goes from Schottentor to Potzleinsdorf. And actually, that's where I live now. I live at the end of the 41 up in Potzleinsdorf, so I ride the 41 quite a bit. Now what do we got here? We've got a Type D from 1957. In service until 1974. And over here, 31/5, is basically two lines using the same trolley. Again, cars that were here when I first got to Vienna back in 1979.
So it seems I lost a little bit of footage, but the story behind this bus is really fascinating. Back in August of 1976, this bus was crossing the Reichsbrücke over the Danube when the bridge collapsed due to a massive engineering failure. One person died in another car, but the driver of this bus, the bus was empty. Early morning, like 4:50 something in the morning. The driver survived. The bus fell as the bridge pancaked into the river and was relatively undamaged, and they were able to get it out of the river and repair it and put it back into service for another 13 years after this tragic incident. So really good story behind the bus that you see here.
All right, so we've got the Stadtbahn here, the WD line. It used to run elevated. Nowadays it's the U6 subway line. And basically these red cars ran along the street called the Gürtel. So this elevated track that was probably built about the 1880s, 1890s. And what's really interesting about these is that they ran left side track. So I don't know if it's because the British were consulted or helped build the project or what, but these trains were still running, newer one than this one, in the late 70s when I got here. Still running elevated, still running left side. And then when they converted that line to a subway in the 80s, they switched it over to right side. So fascinating stuff. I always loved these because wooden seats, wooden floors. It was always so interesting in the winter when there was a lot of snow back in the day. Everybody get in there and the snow would melt and it would pool around the wooden floorboards. So fascinating old train here. This is another one. This is probably one of the more modern ones that I drove or rode on. I'm not sure we can get any kind of a view inside with all the reflection, but we can at least try. I think there's just too much reflection, but yeah. And then one other thing that's right here that we just walked past is one of these little city runabout buses. The 1A, 2A, and 3A lines still run through the first district, the center, within the ring near St. Stephen's Cathedral. And these little guys, odd shape with that deck right there, that little flat space. But another cool little piece of the public transportation story here in Vienna. Okay, this is really cool. We actually see the wheels of the subway, the original U1 trains that I guess started in the mid-70s here. Very cool. And now actually we're going to be able to go into what they call the Silver Arrow, the Silberpfeil. So 1976. A lot of things happened in 76 here, huh? And we're actually going to be able to go into this one. Now, I don't think any of these are still in service. I think they've all been replaced, but fortunately, we can go in and walk around and sit down and relive a little bit of that old school history. Well, not so old school. This one already had the seats redone.
Linien 6, 7a, 65a, 66a, 67, 67a, 68a und 70a sowie zur regionalen Autobuslinien. Bitte alle aussteigen.
Now that voice, anybody who ever lived in Vienna back in the day knows that voice. He was always
Umsteigen zur Linie 14a.
saying all the stops. All right, this is extremely cool. We're actually going to get to go up into the driver's cabin.
Umsteigen zur S-Bahn und zu den Zügen der ÖBB zu den Linien 13a, 18a.
How cool is this?
sowie zur regionalen Autobuslinien.
This guy's raspy voice that keeps hearing over me. Has been replaced by a very soothing female voice these days. All right, we just came out of the main hall service tram here, number 6408. You can look that up again later too and see, because there's no signs out here, but we're back out in the courtyard. A lot of ivy and these beautiful old brick buildings. One more tram out here before we go into the next hall. And we have a really cool old school sign and lamp here, and the sign basically says station of the trolley on demand, nach Bedarf. So it means that if the trolley driver didn't see anybody, he'd just keep right on going. All right, let's head in to the next hall and see what's in there. Okay, part 17 of the exhibit. What do we got in here? All right, a little different. More historical poster board, 120 years of the Vienna public transport system. So I won't go through too much of this, but this is really, really neat. Oh, we also have like some pictures and descriptions of public transportation in other cities around the world. So, well, that's it. We've done the tour. Gone through all three of the halls. It's a remarkable place with 120 years of history of trolleys and buses and subways, and a great thing to do when you're here in Vienna. Just 5 minutes from the Ring, from the Hilton and the Intercontinental hotels, maybe 7 or 8 minutes from St. Stephen's in the center of Vienna with the U3. So real easy to get to, just a couple of blocks from the subway station. And that was great for me. My first time coming down here. I'd heard about it. I'd seen some cool pictures in some of the Facebook groups that I follow that are into public transportation and trams around the world. So check those out. I'll link some of those in the description below as well. But yeah, great day. 8 euros to get in, so about $9. And just a wonderful trip through history as we see all the brick buildings and the cobbles and the old trams here. And so hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.